If you want to make passive income on your future Telluride investment that is unrestricted, then this video is for you. I'm going to deep dive into the nuances of the zoning regulations that determine whether or not you're able to short-term rent your property, and how often, how frequently you can do that in the different zones of town. Furthermore, we're going to deep dive into some of the highlights of the different sides of town and talk through a great question, which is, can these short-term rentals go away? So stick around till the end, and we'll also discuss the long-term rental market and program, because you may not be as limited as you initially think. Before we deep dive, to be very specific, we are just discussing the town of Telluride. Other areas do have other restrictions. If you're looking at Mountain Village, there is absolutely no restrictions on these short-term rentals. You are free and clear no matter where you are in the town of Mountain Village. So here is a zoning district map that we have here at our office. If you'd like a copy of this, just shoot us a quick email. All of our details are in the description down below. Now, because Telluride has such a thriving tourist-based economy, you really want to identify whether or not your family is going to be wanting something that feels like more of a metropolitan, active side of town, or if you want quiet hangout space that is close enough to town but not necessarily right in the thick of it all. There are two areas to consider. So all summer long we have Town Park, which is booming with live music. It is world class and absolutely an event that you have to come to. I'll also post an event schedule down in the description below if you want to explore the different options for Town Park live events. It is some of the most fun for all walks of life, whether you are a family with kids. I love taking my 6-year-old to these festivals. They're very tame and also very family forward, with things like slides and bouncy houses and face painting, etc., etc. Now, it's important to note that these music festivals do go later into the night. So if you are on this east side of town here, you can plan on having music at your front door. Whether or not you love that idea is up to you and your family, but it's worth discussing. Now, alternatively, we do have this west side of town, which is a lot quieter. You're maybe 10-minute walk to the main street with all the shopping centers and whatnot, but you do enjoy more of a residential feel, and you're not going to have nearly as much noise from the town park events or as much foot traffic. Now, there is a bus that runs through the entire town about every 15 minutes. It is a free Galloping Goose bus. If you chose to not walk, that is an option available to you. And then finally, on this north side of town, we have what a lot of people deem as the sunny side. And the sunny side of town is not necessarily the most rental-friendly district. We'll dive into that further. So the area that we're going to focus on today primarily is known as the Accommodations Zone District. There are 2 accommodation zones, and there's a little bit of nuance around some of the other historic commercial zones as well. So specifically, if you want that short-term rental, open-ended potential, you're going to want to look in the Accommodation Zone District. As a general rule of thumb, that means everything that's south of Main Street here, also known as Colorado Avenue. Now, that really is just a general rule of thumb. There's also a few little carve-outs in other areas of town, but we're going to start with that general rule before I highlight exactly what this accommodation zone district is. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to combine accommodations 1 and 2 zone districts together. There really isn't much nuance between the 2 of those. However, you do need to be within one of these areas to be able to long-term rent. So as you can see, the majority of everything south of Main Street falls into accommodations 1 and 2. Now, there is a small jigsaw puzzle piece that is north of Main Street that does fall within the accommodation zoning, and that is highlighted in red here. Now, third and finally, we have the historic commercial district as well, which is essentially the penthouses above the storefronts on Main Street. All of these are rental friendly as well, and are honestly some of the most spectacular properties in the entire town. You're thinking of big walkout pied-à-terres, similar to what I'm sitting on here in New York City, actually. Huge views of the Box Canyon and overlooking Main Street for all of those amazing events, such as the 4th of July, as well as the new ski joring in the wintertime. So generally speaking, if you want that unlimited short-term rental capability, you're going to want to be shopping in the areas that's highlighted in green. Quick pause. If you've gotten value out of this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Comment below and let Jonathan and I know what else you'd like us to make a video of. So two other major questions remain. What about the rest of town? What can I do with the properties that have residential zoning? You do get a lot more sun on the north side of town, hence the reason we call it the sunny side. So if that is more of your feel and you like the quiet residential component versus the more hotel transient style of living that can be found on, let's say, West Pacific, well, you are in luck and you still can rent. However, there's very strict restrictions on how frequently you can. Specifically in the residential zoning, specifically if you are landing in a residential zoned neighborhood, then you can only rent 30 days per calendar year. Furthermore, you can only have 3 short-term rentals, which means, so for example, you could hit the premier rental days such as Christmas through New Year's for 10 days, 10 days of spring break, and 10 days for the golden glow of the fall and autumn season during Blues and Brews. There's also a really strong long-term rental market for 30 days and plus. So you could still rent your house out for the vast majority of the year if you weren't going to come. Now you could still rent long-term, which is a lease for 30 days or more. This actually benefits the consumer because you save on a lot of taxes and you can still make a pretty penny. Another great question is, can this zoning ever change? Can it go away? Can they strip my rental license? The answer is, I suppose anything is possible. However, Telluride already tried to do that a few years back with Proposition 300, where they started to cap the amount of rental licenses. That proposition ended up hitting its sunset period and it was not voted back in. We've already crossed that bridge, and that gives me confidence when advising future homeowners that their short-term rental income is safe. Now, Telluride does have a collection of high-quality property managers. They are not all built the same. There are 3 that stand out, and if you want an introduction, we're absolutely happy to make it. Furthermore, if you find a property that you like and you're curious about the rental income, we have a robust data set that can help you on the front end of going under contract to determine whether or not that rental income is going to be satisfactory for your purchase.